Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. My name is T and you're watching TokYo-Yo Reviews. Let's get straight into the review today. But this is going to be the first in a series of 3 reviews that's going to end in a Taiman. What we're going to be talking about today is the One Drop Benchmark W. Is this a yo-yo you always want to take you everywhere every time you want to throw, or is it better relegated to bench warmer status? Let's talk about the One Drop Benchmark W, shall we? So the shape, obviously, is a W. Very nice wide rim here, very clear cut, although it is a bit rounded, so it's comfortable. You don't have to worry about uncomfortable catches, which is kind of a problem with some W shapes. The cup, you have some interesting cuts here. You've got one cut going in, then you've got another cut that descends in. There's a bit of an underlip there. Then you've got some small rings. Then of course you have the side effect axle system from One Drop, which is really, really nice. I haven't mentioned side effects since my prescription review, but the side effects also act as an axle. So it's very difficult to strip this yo-yo because the way that each of these sides plugs in, tighten the yo-yo really, really well, really crank it, get it down tight, and you never have to worry about stripping your axle, which if you've seen some of my recent reviews, you know that can be sometimes a problem for me. Also, these side effects let you change the weight and the look of this yo-yo. So for me, I've got the purple domes. The material is the Pyramat, which is One Drop's special coating, and it's very, extremely smooth, very nice feeling, and it's in this very cool purple. I've mentioned before that One Drop's Pyramat colors are really nice. The purple is extremely rich. You don't see a lot of other purples like this. Feel in the hand is very nice with the W, very, very comfortable. And usually my complaint with W shapes is that they are sharp, but this one gets it just right. The look of the Benchmark is extremely flashy too. Like I mentioned with the cup, you've got a lot of interesting style in here. You've got these side effects which you can change to whatever you like. The angular nature of the yo-yo is really cool looking, I think. It's a really nice true W. And the color, everything about it, the whole look of the Benchmark series in general, but especially the W, I think is really flashy. So the Benchmark series is a very, very interesting project by One Drop. So for those of you who don't know, the Benchmark series has 4 shapes in 2016. So you've got the W shape, you also have the V shape, the O shape, and the H shape, which all are kind of the pinnacles of what One Drop feels each shape can be. So this is the first one I bought in the series, so that's why I'm reviewing this first. But a really interesting thing about the Benchmark series is, although each of the yo-yos is a different shape, each of them have the same width, the same diameter, and the same weight. So it's very, very interesting, I think, from an engineering standpoint to see a company try to experiment, but also limit themselves in such a way. I think it really pushes the limits of creativity, which is cool with a company like One Drop because they're all about creativity, I feel. As I mentioned, this was my first Benchmark purchase. I wanted to get in on the Benchmark shapes, and when I went to buy this, they only had the W and the V in stock, and at the time I wasn't a big fan of V's, and a lot of people were recommending the H, but they didn't have that. So I picked up the W, and it was very impressive from the very start. I'm not sure, but I think this was my first side effect throw as well. That was a little tricky at first, finding the right balance of where to tune a side effect yo-yo. As I mentioned with the prescription review, you do have to crank a side effect yo-yo a little bit to get it nice and snug. And also you may have to take the side effects out and turn them a little bit and put them back in and kind of get it exactly where you feel it plays best. But I think out of the box these play really nicely as well. But part of the fun of the side effect yo-yos is to take the side effects out and try new ones. So as I said, I feel like this plays better heavy, so I've got the domes in here. What it comes with are energy domes, which are sort of like the screw looking one. But you can tell the machining process at One Drop is just so tight with the prescription, with the Mantis, with all the One Drops I've tried. Machining and quality has always been top notch, and the Benchmark feels extremely solid. For sure, this is a very, very solid yo-yo. gigantic spider. Let's get into playability of the W. It is an extremely long spinning yo-yo. It's also very, very stable because of the rim weight of a W shape. In the hand, when you're playing with it, it does feel extremely comfortable. I've mentioned in my quantum review and my katana review that W shapes can sometimes be a little uncomfortable. This solves this problem by having very nice rounded edges here, so you don't have to worry about discomfort. Also here, although there is an undercut, this part is very rounded off and nice. Feels great on the string. It glides along. It lands very, very softly, especially if you have lighter side effects in, but I feel like when you keep it right around the 67, 66 grams range, it just plays perfectly on the string. A very nice momentum to this. You feel like you could push the Benchmark series, especially the W now. Most people will say that the W is a very, very competition-oriented shape, and I feel like because of that, you're able to push the W a little bit more. It does feel quite serious. The O shape Benchmark and the V feel a little bit different than the W. I feel like the W is a very, very serious yo-yo. I think all of One Drop's yo-yos are meant to be fun, but this one feels like, yeah, you want to throw this when you want to throw a really intense combo. Finger spins are a definite no-no. I have tried. Your finger can land there and skip just a little bit, but it's just going to orbit around the side effect, and there's just not enough space in there to get a finger spin going. Grinds are very nice on here. I think some people mentioned that the pyramid finish can be a little bit tricky, but I've never had any problem grinding on One Drops. I think they grind quite well, and they're extremely comfortable too, because they don't have that chalky, as Throws Definitive mentioned it, ceramic feel, which I think is a really good way to explain it. It's very, very soft, smooth, and yet grindable finish. Really love the Benchmark series. As we go through these reviews, you're going to hear more about them and get more of my opinion on them, but I think the W was an excellent start with the series, and I'm really glad I got it. It sort of got me in on trying different shapes, really being able to compare different shapes to each other because they are so similar out of the box with the size, the shape, and the weight. It's an extremely interesting thing to look at them side by side and say, like, yeah, I know exactly what the different shapes play like now, because each of these is sort of the peak of what they can be working within the parameters that One Drop has set for themselves. Let's get into pros and cons of the Benchmark W. As I mentioned, for a W shape, it's very comfortable. The rounded edges make it very nice to hold. It's beautiful looking. This purple is just gorgeous. I think purple yo-yos are really, really beautiful, and the pyramid purple is just so nice. It's very, very stable, as you would expect from a W shape. It plays well with other bearings. I should have mentioned that before, but this is actually the gold NSK bearing I got out of the katana. I mentioned in the katana review that we thought it might have been broken, but the more I play with it, the more it seems fine. And so I just threw it into another shape, another yo-yo that I had, which happened to be the Benchmark, and it plays beautifully with a grooved bearing. All One Drops come with the regular One Drop 10 ball flat, but I think that especially their more competition-y type of yo-yos play great with grooved bearings. And it's very friendly for a W shape, even though it is like kind of competition oriented. It's such a friendly shape, and it's so well rounded that it's just really nice to play with, even for like a beginner. I got this when I was a lot lower skill level than I am now, and it was just a wonderful thing to play with. And the response, you guys, flow groove is where it's at. I mentioned in the prescription review, I mentioned it in the Mantis review, I'm pretty sure. In this one, again, response is no slouch. The flow groove response is just really, really awesome. It should be in every yo-yo. As for cons of the Benchmark, the only thing you might find is that it's a little bit difficult to tune. As I mentioned, when you have side effect yo-yos, you do have to futz with them a little bit more to get them exactly where you want them. But One Drops play so smooth and play so nice out of the box anyway, that if you just leave it stock, it's going to be just fine. But if you do want to take it apart, just know that you may have to do a little bit of retuning to get it just as smooth as you'd like it. I'm going to say this right off the top, this is just a joke con, but another con of the Benchmark is that when you buy one, you want to get them all. And that's a big problem with me. I really like completing sets. Right now I've got this one, the O and the V, which I'll be reviewing very soon. I've never been able to get my hands on an H. I would like to complete the set, but I'm guessing that One Drop is going to release a new series of Benchmarks this year. I have no idea if that's true or not. I haven't heard anything about it, but I heard that they skipped a year because they were moving into a new shop. I believe they had one in 2014 and then they had one in 2016, which is this series. And so it only makes sense that they'll be doing it sometime this year as well. Last segment of our show today, who's the Benchmark W for? The Benchmark W is good for people who want to try side effects and not break the bank. It's very, very affordable. And who want to try a competition shape like the W without, it kind of depends on where you're buying your shapes, but if you look at some like really nice high-end competition W shapes, they tend to get pretty pricey. So this lets you get in on the side effects, it lets you try one drop, and it lets you get a really, really solid W shape for a great price. Plus you can get it in all these great colors, you can get it in splashes, you can get all the side effects and keep customizing. It's kind of a no-brainer. If you're interested in a W shape, like this is the way to go. So I would check it out if you're interested in any of the stuff I mentioned. So that's going to be it for the Benchmark W. Look forward to the V and the O coming up very soon, and after that we'll have a little Taiman to find out which one I think is the best for me. I know the beauty of the Benchmark series is that each one is for a different person, but I can't help but kind of make them fight each other. Thanks for the likes, the comments, the subscriptions. We're up past 400 now. Thanks so much. When we get to 500, giveaway, so keep it going. But guys, thanks a lot for watching. Take care, have a great day, and sayonara.